Hey guys, today I'm going to bring to you 10 anime from this current spring 2018 season that are of the romance genre, but may have gotten overshadowed by some of the more popular titles like Hero Academia and Tokyo Ghoul getting new seasons. Here we have a typical romance plot of a girl falling for her best friend's big brother, but he ends up becoming famous and never notices her, while she does everything she can to try to stand out to get his attention. She even dreams that he is the tuxedo mask to her Sailor Moon. But what she didn't account for was that her mother was actually a magical girl until a month ago, and now she has to take her place because the guy she likes is being kidnapped. To transform, she has to confess her feelings to the one she loves, and then her metamorphosis to become a magical macho man begins. You heard me. She turns into a big buff dude in front of the guy she's in love with. Talk about awkward. The first scene you see of this anime seems to be a type of weird lesbian sexy harem room. All of the girls gathered because of one woman in charge of a crime organization that wants to turn them into beast girls to do her bidding when she asks them to. The whole setup seems kinda weird to me, but to each their own, I guess. There's a ton of Yuri fan service in the first episode alone. It seems like every minute there is a new couple hooking up on screen, including the teachers that no one wants to watch. Some of the females I did not even realize were girls at first, but they too have female crushes on the main girl, which she uses to manipulate them. There seems to be very few males in this show, but no one seems to be able to resist Honey's charms. Plenty of different potential couples in this anime, that's for sure. A foreigner named Teresa comes to Japan and gets separated from her companion that has all of her belongings. Instead of trying to find her, she detours and stops to take pictures and look at the places that were filmed in her favorite TV show, Rainbow Shogun. The guy she has to take her picture was at first bothered that she kept missing her shots of cherry blossoms, but he can tell that the girl would be lost on her own and takes her to his grandpa's shop where everyone is shocked by her beauty. Even the cat that normally doesn't warm up to people wanted to sit in her lap. The main character comes off as very ditzy and kind of airheaded, but very lovable. Every time the two would part, they would end up meeting up again, and it just seems a little bit like fate to me. The protagonist begins the anime engaged to a man she has never met before in order to save her family from debt. Her father essentially sold her off in order to get a loan for his business. As a dutiful daughter, she agrees to go through with the engagement until things are put on hold because of her brother's bad reaction to it. You could tell that she didn't really want to be married, and through a series of events ends up attempting suicide. What was behind the attempt was not her engagement, but actually a cursed book that the brother had read, and because of the ordeal, the protagonist gains the powers to be able to find more cursed books and goes to work to hunt them down. Everything about this series, from the opening to the amount of sexy guys that work with her, scream that it's going to be a reverse harem, and I love it. This anime has 3-minute-long episodes, but they are packed with humor and cuteness between the main couple. The guy is a complete tsundere and is always calling his girlfriend ugly and telling her to get away from him. He actually just feels that he doesn't deserve to be near such an angel and will stalk her from afar and listen into her through weird devices. They aren't the most normal couple, but they are certainly an entertaining one. She is actually oblivious to his stalking somehow and finds his aloofness and actions towards her cute. I certainly wouldn't take any of the crap he does, but good for her. Even though she likes his usual cold personality, she can't help to get super excited when his true feelings shine through, and he lets off a small smile. This happens to be another 3-minute short, but it's more of a shoujo-ai harem with fan service. A girl moves back to her hometown and is welcomed to her new dorm with the sight of a cute girl from the window and a childhood friend at the entrance. When she goes in, she is welcomed by the other girls that live there in their own unique ways, including flashing her by not wearing any panties. A lot of comedial things go on accidentally between her and all the girls living there. However, it seems her childhood friend is seriously in love with her and worried that she had forgotten about her until they met at their old special place, until she actually just wasn't recognized because of how much cuter she had gotten over the years. Vampires live amongst humans in the world and sometimes go through their whole lives without revealing to anyone that they are a vampire. They don't have to drink blood, but if they crave it and end up getting a taste of blood just once, they lose control and bite and rape their victims from then on. That's why it's important to keep your friends close. Unfortunately for Tyra, her best friend just confessed his love to her and she doesn't quite feel the same way. She's been stalked a lot recently, so he continues to watch over her though. That is until someone stops him and points out that he is actually the vampire and ends up taking her away from him. It honestly reminds me of a mixture of Tokyo Ghoul and Twilight. This romance is actually about Tyra and the half-vampire that couldn't control his urge to kiss her when he spotted blood on her face. When an otaku and a social misfit end up having pool duty together, it can only lead to good things, right? Except that he hates real-life girls and she is the most promiscuous girl in school. He quits pool cleaning early due to an accident she makes. The next day, he goes to a cafe with his fellow otaku friend and an old classmate of his appears. She ends up being, quite frankly, a complete bitch to him, while none other than Igarashi shows up and puts that girl in her place. This makes him begin to think that she might not be a bad person after all and ends up following her around in secret. At first, he didn't like what he saw when he was following her because he saw her kissing multiple guys, but he still ended up defending her when she would get in trouble. This led to her falling for him and wanting to start a relationship. This anime seems to be a mix of the Ancient Magus Bride and Kami-sama Kiss, which means it's right up my alley. A young girl has always had the ability to see otherworldly spirits. These skills come in handy because she ends up being taken to their world to become an ogre's bride. Her grandfather had amassed a huge debt in the world and traded her hand in marriage to pay it off before he died. Like any girl in her right mind, she didn't want to marry someone she doesn't know, let alone an ogre, so she strikes a deal to try to work off his debt instead. I just know they will end up falling in love in the end though, because despite what it seems, he has to be a good guy because all of his employees love him. Although if they don't, I definitely have a second candidate picked for her already. This was one anime I was really hyped for this season, but I never really heard anything about it from anyone. A woman joins a new company after being dumped by a coworker at her last job and ends up running into her childhood friend that knows the deep dark secret behind why her boyfriend left her. She's an otaku! Luckily, her childhood friend is too. She swore that he is not her type because he smokes and he's a jerk and he's a gamer, but none of that stops her from always calling upon him for help. She gets tired of getting nothing out of the friendship other than after-work drinking sessions where she does nothing but complain, and decides to change things at the end of the first episode. I can't wait to see what blossoms out of this oddly matched but perfect to one another couple. I mean, what's better than dating someone that you can game with, right? Although if they don't, I definitely have a second candidate